Good evening there, folks. It's me, Dale Stringer, once again. Thought I'd shoot a fun video tonight, just kind of something short, quick, but yet still very informative. Did you ever wonder why you cannot find the word dinosaur in the Bible? Nowhere in all 66 books of this Bible will you find the word dinosaur. There's a really good reason why you can't find the word dinosaur, because it's not there. In fact, when the Bible was translated into English, if you're using the King James Version of the Bible, of course, that book was translated 400 years ago. 400 years ago. In the year 1611, King James authorized a translation of the Bible to be written in English, and it was the authorized version of the land, and everyone in England was to read out of the King James Version of the Bible, and that's what I have right here. It's not the original 1611 King James, of course. That one is almost so impossible to even understand because our language has changed so much even in 400 years. But, however, I do have a King James Version of the Bible. And in the King James Version of the Bible, you'll not find anywhere the word dinosaur. Well, in order to understand why the word dinosaur is not here, we have to understand the word dinosaur itself. The word dinosaur, and you can do a quick Google search on this, and you can find a gentleman by the name of Sir Richard Owen. Sir Richard Owen, in the year 1841, found a gigantic lizard bone. He called it a terrible lizard, which coined the phrase dinosaur. And from that moment on, in 1841, the word dinosaur now was a household name. And to this day, we still use the word dinosaur to refer to these giant creatures. Now, in the year 1611, when King James authorized this translation of the Bible, the word dinosaur had not yet been invented yet. So the word dinosaur is not put into our Bible. Now, the whole theory of evolution didn't come around until the 1800s. Prior to that, in the 1700s is when the idea of an old Earth became popular, and people started thinking that possibly the Earth was much older than 6,000 years. But from the time of creation until about the 1700s, it was just generally understood that the Earth was a very young Earth. As of the 1700s, other people started having other ideas of this, and Charles Darwin kind of coined an idea of the theory of evolution. That's a whole nother story, another topic for another day. But for right now, let's just talk about that young Earth. That young Earth that our Bible really dictates to us, because if you're going to read the Bible as written, you find a young Earth. Dinosaurs are nowhere here. Now, why would ancient people who we have writings from that going all the way back to Adam not mention anything about dinosaurs? Well, I'd like to submit to you that there are several cases of dinosaurs mentioned in the Bible that we've not unlocked or unearthed just in common person's reading. But a close scrutiny of Scripture and really digging into Scripture, you're going to find another word that means pretty similar to the word dinosaur, which would have been the word that they would have used in 1611. There is something that we refer to called a dragon. Yes, fire-breathing, flying, serpentine-like dragons. That was the popular culture of the day, the word that they used to refer to these creatures. Now, time does not allow me to go into any deep detail, but I will tell you that there are many instances in the Bible where it is referring to dragons, that it sounds pretty similar, that it could fit the bill of a dinosaur. One thing that I can give you for a quick reference, you're going to find in the book of Job. Now, the book of Job is not the first book of the Bible, but yet it is still the oldest book of the Bible. Chronologically, Job was written before any of the other books of the Bible were around. So if we want to find anything out about Job, we could definitely dig in here and find out maybe some older creatures was here. Now, we find Job actually talking to God in here, and there's one particular creature that I'm very fascinated with when we get to studying this creature, and it's a sea monster. The book of Psalms 71:14 refers to sea monsters, but Job 41 says, "Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Can thou put a hook into his nose, or bore a jaw through with a horn? Will he make thee any supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall thy companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears?" This sounds like a pretty vicious animal that nobody can tame. You can't eat it. He's pretty well worthless creature for the planet. It says, in verse 8, "Lay thy hand upon him, remember the battle, do no more. Behold, the hope of him that is in vain, shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him. None is so fierce that dare stir him up. So who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment? Who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal." So we know that he's scaly. "One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together. They cannot be sundered." Are you noticing a trend here? He is giving a specific description, not only of the personality of this beast, but also its looks. "By his nescings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out." Are we talking about a fire-breathing sea serpent here? "Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and his flame goeth out under his mouth. And his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reasons of breaking, they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him unto stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp-pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be a hoary. Upon the earth where there is not none like his, who is made without fear, he beholdeth all things. He is the king over all the children of pride. Now, when you get to reading Job chapter 41 and you start understanding this creature that he is talking about here, this creature is quite scary. And God is talking about his creation. I made him, is what he is asking Job here. Were you there? Were you there when I made these beasts? I mean, you can read here in the last few chapters of Job, and he is describing these. He also describes another one called Behemoth. But we also find dragons laced all throughout the Bible, many, many different references to them. Time's not going to allow tonight for me to go into this. But if you have any questions or comments, you'd like to post them after this video, I'd be glad to discuss this with you further in deeper detail. But to let you know that dinosaurs were created. The ones that flew and the ones that was in the water were created on day 5. And the ones that were land-dwelling, land-breathing animals created day 6. That's right. Adam and Eve were also created on day 6. So if that's the case, then dinosaurs were here before us, but only about 24 hours. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. You have a great night. Hope you had some fun. Maybe you learned a little bit. If you want to dig in more, answersingenesis.org is a great website, and I've got tons of resources myself. Be glad to share with you or discuss it any further details. God bless you, and y'all have a great night. Bye-bye.